Well, thanks for having me. This is my first AsiaCom. It's very interesting and great to meet most of you. A lot of you I've met before, but many of you I haven't. And so I thought for just the first 3 minutes, I would just quickly tell you what Vendasta does. Try not to make it into a commercial, but I think it's important you know what we do so you can understand the data that I'm going to show you right after. So the talk is going to be about how to defeat customer churn and a little formula for success. But before we do that, I thought I would just quickly, don't need to see me, talk about why Vendasta exists. The reason that we exist is because when we started Vendasta in 2008, we realized what you already all know, that the internet's changed, that the way that people make purchasing decisions has changed. They have access to information anywhere, anytime, and any place. And in 2008, we saw the effect of that, particularly this is the graph of the newspaper revenue, sort of falling off a cliff. And what the reason for that was because that the way that businesses market and sell actually really needs to match the way consumers shop and buy, and businesses need technology to survive. We know that big businesses have responded, large franchises, people who have the budgets to be able to respond on the tech side, but local businesses have had a tougher time. At the same time, these local businesses face a lot of challenges. So we kind of went through a bunch of these that only get to spend a third of their time, Charles talked about that, doing what they do. They've got 7 or 8 calls a week, people trying to sell them these 5,000 solutions with so many logins, and they really just want someone to help them. And so where do they turn? They turn to people they trust, and in marketing and advertising, that's been the folks in this room. A trusted someone they trust. But you folks, or a lot of you, have also problems. You're trying to expand your stack, and you're trying to provide those products and services that they need. And so that's what we really do. We have a marketplace of best-of-breed products. It's a sales CRM and sales automation platform, a marketing automation platform, really order management, fulfillment, delivery, improved performance, one login, one UX, one UI for all small businesses to get everything they need in one place so they don't have to log in and get notifications from everywhere. So we start by looking at the business need, then we bring in all the technology that vendors have, and we find channel experts like yourselves who small businesses already trust and use. And we like to say that we live at the intersection of technology, trust, and need. And so we've got, I think this number's up already to about 65 products in our marketplace. Many of them you'll recognize. We've got over 1,000 channel experts, and today we're selling through those channels to about 1.2 million SMBs on a monthly basis. So the business model is a B2B to SMB. So we provide a white label platform. And we sell that platform to folks who are what we call channel experts. So they could be YP, newspaper, radio, TV, pure play tech companies, all sorts of folks. And then those folks pay us a subscription to use our platform, and vendors integrate against the platform. We have that set of vendors I showed you, but a lot of our bigger partners bring a set of their own vendors to integrate. So it doesn't have to just be the vendors we bring. And then, of course, the channel expert resells that suite of products to the local businesses any way they want. And on average, it's 5 times the wholesale cost, and a business pays them. And in turn, if those products are from our marketplace, you pay us, and if they're from the vendors, that's bring your own contract, you pay the vendor. So that's just how the model works. Just thought I'd get that out of the way. The key thing, and Satya touched on this too, is that it's based on trust. So in marketing and advertising, it's agencies, media companies, web design. These are the things that local businesses come to those companies for because they trust them. And it's starting to spread into adjacent spaces. So, in productivity, we've brought in G Suite, Constant Contact, domains from GoDaddy. That's because if you're selling a website, a marketing and advertising sort of product, the local business will trust you for things like domains and email marketing. But as you go down the different stacks, it's tougher and tougher. So if a small business is probably not going to come to you to buy their accounting package, they're likely going to go to their accountant for that advice. So we're trying to help our partners build out expertise all the way down these different channel stacks that we see. And this is sort of the future for where we're going. So what I want to talk, so that's what we do. I just wanted to get that out of the way so you understand. Today I really wanted to talk about growth and what's the best way to grow. And when we think about growth, For us, it's thinking about our partners' growth, because we are a white label platform. If we sell our platform to you guys and you don't sell anything, we don't make any money. So we only succeed if our partners succeed. It's completely white label. We do not sell direct. So we really need to make this happen. So when we look at how do they grow, how does anyone grow, it's really three ways. You acquire new customers, you get them to pay you more and more and more, and you retain them. And today I want to talk about retaining them, because it's an often overlooked how important that retention is. So that, and this is, we talked a lot about everyone turning into a software as a service company, a SaaS company. That's really what our platform helps do, is make everyone a SaaS company on their own. And in SaaS, there's a rule of thumb, and that is that retaining the customers you have is more important even than getting new ones. And why that is here's a chart that basically shows constant growth. If you didn't lose anybody, you'd be at $500,000 by the end of these four periods. But if you had 5% churn, you'd only be at half of that, at $200,000. And if you had net negative churn, meaning you kept all your customers and they spent more, you could have as much as $800,000. So churn is a huge factor on recurring revenue products. So what we did is we said we're going to do a study on this, and so we're going to use as much data as we can. So what we did was we first came up with some hypotheses. So I used to say about 3-4 years ago that we were drowning in data but thirsting for knowledge. So we actually hired 4 data scientists. These are guys with PhDs that all they do is look at the data and come up with insights on the data. It was one of the best things we ever did. So the thesis that they came up with, or the hypothesis, was 1, that you should sell customers what they need. I know that sounds pretty straightforward. 2, you should invite them to participate. And 3, should you be the single trusted provider for those products. I'll show you what we found. So the way that we did it is we took 2 years of data across 100,000 local businesses. So these were customers that had to be, these are SMBs that had to be customers of our channel experts for over 2 years. So yeah, they had to be with Vendasta for 2 years, the partner did. The small business had to purchase at least one product, so no free products. They had to buy at least one thing. And we called churn, the definition of churn is when that small business no longer paid us anything. So this is really a longitudinal survivor analysis. So retention analysis is what this is. And so the first hypothesis was sell customers what they need. So does selling them what they need make a difference, or can you just go in and sell what you have? Because one thing that we saw, and I'll pick on newspapers because there's none here, is that no matter, they want to sell digital, but the salesperson goes in and he just sells what he used to always sell. I'm sure that never happens to your folks. So the way that we did that is we have a sales and marketing automation product that sends out a survey, or sends out a report to the local business, and they interact with it because the data is all about them. And in that report, we chose all the customers that had a failing grade in social. So we call that a D or lower. So what we do is we group them and we grade them based on how they relate to their peers. So what percentile they fall in. So if they had D or lower, we said, let's look at social. And then we said, okay, let's look at all the products sold to all of those 100,000 small businesses. The blue line is all the customers after 1 year. So you can see you only have our partners have less than 50% of them retained after a year if they didn't sell them social. Whereas if they sold them social, which we knew they had a failing grade in, they were actually up quite a lot higher than that. So we found that 30% increase in retention if you sell them something they actually need. Seems pretty straightforward. And then we said, well, hey, let's actually check out and see what happens if you just sell them one thing. What happens if you sell them something within 3 months, a second thing within 3 months? So these are people that are upsold. So we said, wow, that makes quite a difference. There's a pretty big, and this is over 2 years now, there's a pretty big increase in retention from less than 40% to almost 60% if you actually upsold them something within 3 months. If you waited for 6 months, not as much of a difference. 12 months, even less of a difference. So the point here is, and then here's what it is after the 12-month mark, even less. So the point here is don't wait until a year. So that's another thing that a lot of some of our partners did, not a lot, but some of our partners, they would, sell them something for a year and then come back at renewal time and say, hey, we're here, and it doesn't work as well. You should actually upsell them. It's better for you. You get more revenue, more share of wallet, but it's also better for your retention, and it's better for the customer. So start selling, upselling right away. So that's the key takeaway, is try to identify those sort of, undiscovered needs. So you might go in with the intention to help them with a certain set of products, but if you find out through the analysis, whether it's our snapshot or any other kind of analysis you do on the business, you find that you should help them to solve problems they really have. Extends the lifetime. Number 2, invite customers to participate. So we're wondering, to ourselves, does it really matter if it's a DIY, do it yourself, or whether, it's do it for me, whether you do all the work, or whether it's a combination where we do the stuff together. So how do we test that hypothesis? First, we just looked at engagement. So engagement here was they had to at least open an email, open a report, or log into a dashboard in our system, what we call our business center. So we said, okay, if you look at people who rarely engage, that's less than once a month, you can see that after 25 months, you've got about 30% of those customers left, 70% churn. If they log in at least once a month, yeah, it's a little better, not a lot better. If they engage once a week, now we're up over 50%. That's a lot better. But if you can get daily, and Satya kind of talked about this is exactly what happens. If you can get them to log in daily or engage daily with your system, you become mission critical to them, you're going to get retention rates that are in the 90%. This is where we all need to get to. We need you to get there, selfishly. And then we said, okay, let's look and see what happens. Everyone talks about onboarding. So let's not just talk about how they engage, let's talk about when they first engage. So we said, well, if they engage less than 5 times after they, within the first month of buying that product, what does their retention look like? And you can see it's, 30%. But if they engage greater than 5 times at the start, already they have a much better retention rate. They're already at 50%. So that's sort of what we discovered was you should engage, customers who engage early have a 20% increased retention rate. Those that engage often have an increased retention rate of 28%. And those who engage daily actually increases retention by 60%. So that's key takeaway number 2. You want to create that unified experience for that local business so they can engage all your products in one place. If you make it too hard for them, they're not going to engage. You've got to make it really, really easy to engage and find value in your products. And it extends the lifetime value of the customer. And then the last hypothesis was you want to be the single trusted provider. So the way we tested this, do I really need to sell the full stack, or can I just be, Website Wanda or SEO Sam or Advertising Harry? Can I do that and get away with it? So we looked at all the people all the SMBs that bought one product. So you've got, down to 25%. And then if they buy 2 products, that immediately jumps up. 4 products, though, is the killer. You can get almost close to 80% by just selling 4 products. So we found that's really the sweet spot. Sell at least 4 products. So if you sell 1 more product, you increase your retention by 20%, but don't stop there. You can go all the way up to 60% retention. And it's way better for you. You got a bigger share of the wallet. You're keeping your competitors out, and you're making your customer happier. So it's win-win-win. So more solutions allows you to capture greater share of wallet and extends the value of your customer. So really, I want to summarize, sell customers what they need, use sort of that data if you can to highlight that undiscovered need and solve problems they didn't even know they had. Invite them to participate. It's more and more important. I know that for a long time people said that small businesses won't participate. I think Satya proved that that's absolutely not true. They will participate and they will do things if it adds value to their business. And then be the single trusted provider. So you don't want to be all things to everyone, but you want to be all the things that they need in your niche of sales and marketing. So this is a SaaS quote, but I'm going to change it. I'm going to say agencies don't win by getting there first or by having the best idea. You win by continually solving your customers' problems better. We have a saying at Vendasta with our software developers because they love to fall in love with technology. We say, don't fall in love with the software you created, fall in love with your customers' problems. And so that's it.
Great.
I hope that was valuable.
Thank you, Brendan. All right, so we have a little time. Anyone have a question? We do have one question.
Brendan, the question relates to the frequency of retention.
Yeah.
Surely it's true that for most digital products, the real value is that you can link your advertising to campaigns. So if you're launching a new product, then you want to have 3 months worth of heavy advertising, and then you don't advertise.
I realize I missed a key. Sorry to interrupt. I missed a key point here. I should have said it at the start of the study. We took out all of advertising. Advertising is episodic. This is based purely on marketing solutions, recurring revenue marketing solutions like websites, reputation management, local listings, calendars, scheduling, social posting, all of those types of things. This had no advertising in it. Advertising is episodic and one time and is not on until cancel. And it's important to sell, but it's only, and in the market, if you look at some of the stats, at least in North America, 2.5 times more dollars in marketing solutions than advertising solutions. And in advertising solutions, I'm saying that Google and Facebook are the clear winners in that case, and you're basically working for them in most of those cases, unless you have some owned and operated properties that you can sell that advertising on. And by all means, you should do that. And you need to sell advertising, don't get me wrong. But this was completely based on recurring revenue marketing solutions, no advertising.
But then don't you miss the opportunity to have specifically effective?
Yeah, no, so we have other data with that advertising in here. I just didn't present that here. So I absolutely believe you need advertising. This was, and I apologize, I should have been very clear that this was marketing solutions, recurring revenue marketing solutions, not advertising solutions.
So retention could be somebody repeats once every 3 years?
No, these are monthly paying products, all monthly. So if they missed a month, they're done. So yeah, that's why advertising was explicitly out. So I totally get your question, and I apologize for not being clear.
Anyone else? So let's dig into this notion of driving 1x per day engagement. What are some of the ways that companies are doing that to get that? I mean, I know Satya talked about being mission critical and all that, but any thoughts on some things your partners are doing to drive that level of engagement, or that you're advising your partners to do?
Sure, and it's the solutions that drive that. So, if you have a website and you have a form on there and you're getting some form fills, hopefully your small business is responding to that. So I think it's really all about whether it's a form fill there, whether it's a new lead through an appointment calendar, or whatever it might be. But you have to drive value to the small business. So Satya's giving them a lead. They're going to want that. They're going to log in. They're going to see that lead, and they're going to respond to that. And it mostly is about leads. It's mostly about, in one way or another, it's not about saying, oh, here's some stats on your Google My Business page. That's okay. You can do that once a week and provide them that, but they're not going to continue to log in for those things. They need to have things they need to action on. So someone on a social post says, hey, is your building pet friendly? If you're not going to respond to those kinds of things, if you're an apartment owner, you may as well not have a Facebook page. But the idea is to be able to aggregate all those things and deliver it to the local business in one UX, one UI, where they can control the notifications. And if you're doing some of that work for them, like you're fixing their listings because they don't want to do that, or you're there's a certain set of things that you say, hey, here's what we're doing for you, and then they're very happy about that. There's another set of things that they want to respond to and deal with themselves because it's personal to their business, and you couldn't possibly do that for them.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. You also mentioned the selling 4 products as being sort of, the key. 4 products is better than 3 and is better than 2. Selling 4 products, do you have any thoughts? Because after the break, we're having a session that I'm part of about selling the stack and how you do that. And one of the issues, and I don't want to steal too much from that session, but one of the issues is you can't go in and sell or it's a challenge to go in and if you have multiple products and explain it all. So totally. Is your thought that sale occurs over time?
Totally, and it does. And when I say 4 products too, it might not be what somebody else might consider one product. So it might be a website, And then we layer on top of it G Suite, which is super sticky because now you have their branded email.
Right.
And then perhaps you put Constant Contact in there so that they can, market to their customers. That would be 3 products in our world, whereas all-in-one product might call that one product. So there is some nuances.
Some
to
definitional
that.
issues there? Yeah. Okay. Anything else from the audience? So, okay. The other thought is, your product set is mostly around marketing services, right? So do you get more, what are your thoughts about mixing up sort of marketing products with back office products in the stack? Do you have any thoughts about that? Because I don't think we've really talked about that much.
So we're, now we are starting to provide, the back office
By that I mean things like...
things for the agency.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As opposed to things they resell to the
Right.
local business. So, obviously, we want to be able to keep the agency as a customer too. So they obviously need those back order management, task management, fulfillment. Those things also tie through transparently to the local business though. So we've built it in such a way as that, when the advertising campaign's fulfilled, the local business is updated so they understand transparently where everything's happening. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Oscar?
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure.
So, I guess that you're focused in North America right now, yeah? Do you plan to expand to other places?
Oh, thank you, Oscar. So we are in North America right now. We have expanded into the UK and Australia. Just recently, we have done a lot of work to become multilingual. So, we're investing about, to current run rate, about $14 million in R&D a year. And so, we've been doing that for some years, not as much in the past as we are now, but we have tackled GDPR and language, so we're good to go now. So that's why we're here.
How many countries are you in now, operationally?
We are in 21 countries. I checked, but if you look at countries that have sort of significant base, it's probably more like 10. But we want to, and mainly English today, but we're ready to go in other languages.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Final question? All right, well, thanks, Brendan.
Thanks. Thank you.
All right, I think we